Have you ever looked at your strawberry patch and felt completely disappointed? You water them carefully, you weed them constantly, but the final harvest is just sad and small. Well, what if I told you that the ultimate secret to a massive mountain of berries is sitting right inside your kitchen pantry right now? Yes, I am talking about ordinary, cheap baking soda. Today I am going to show you an amazing trick that will make your strawberry bushes produce so much beautiful fruit you simply will not have enough buckets to collect them all. Most people believe the common myth that you absolutely need expensive, toxic chemical fertilizers to get giant, sweet berries. But we are going to completely bust that myth today with simple science. Tell me down in the comments right now, what is the biggest problem you face with your strawberry plants every year? Is it bugs, mold, or just tiny berries? Let us fix it together. Before we start throwing white powder all over our beautiful gardens, we really need to understand the rich history of this method. Using sodium bicarbonate in agriculture is definitely not a new viral internet trend. In fact, smart farmers in the early 1900s used it as their primary natural fungicide. Back then, they did not have access to the fancy synthetic sprays we see on store shelves today. They relied entirely on simple chemistry to protect their crops. Strawberries are incredibly delicate plants. Because they grow so close to the damp soil, they are highly prone to mold, root rot, and endless pest attacks. Baking soda acts as a gentle, invisible shield for these plants. It fundamentally changes the environment on the surface of the leaves, making it completely impossible for bad spores and bugs to survive. Now, let us dive deep into exactly how this works and how you can start using it in your garden today. Let us start by looking at the secret life of a strawberry leaf. Imagine the surface of this green leaf as a microscopic battlefield. Every single day, invisible fungal spores are landing on your precious plants, just waiting for a single drop of moisture to sprout and destroy your entire crop. This is exactly where our kitchen hero steps in. When you apply baking soda to the leaves, you are actually performing a very simple but highly powerful chemical altering process. Baking soda is naturally alkaline. When it dissolves in water and coats the leaf, it instantly raises the pH level on that specific surface. Why does this matter so much? Because those nasty fungal spores absolutely hate alkaline environments. They need a slightly acidic surface to germinate and grow. By applying baking soda, you are essentially turning the leaf into a hostile desert for diseases. You are not poisoning the fungus with toxic chemicals. You're just changing the neighborhood so the fungus decides to pack up and leave. Many people believe the myth that you have to kill garden problems with harsh poisons. But the truth is, you just need to make your garden unappealing to them. By mastering this simple trick, you're setting up an invisible force field around your berries. Now, let us talk about the absolute worst enemy of any strawberry gardener. I am talking about powdery mildew. If you have ever seen your beautiful green leaves suddenly look like someone dusted them with white flour, you know exactly what I mean. Powdery mildew stops the plant from photosynthesizing, which means the plant has zero energy to produce big, juicy berries. Baking soda is the ultimate weapon against this specific white menace. Picture a thick wall of white fungus completely covering the pores of the plant. When our baking soda solution hits that white fungus, it immediately disrupts the cell walls of the mildew. It dries it out rapidly. Within just 24 hours of spraying, you will actually see that white powdery substance turn brown and flake off the leaf. It is incredibly satisfying to watch. You do not need to pull the infected plants out of the ground anymore. You can save them. A great example of this is a gardener who is about to burn their entire strawberry patch because it was completely white with mildew. One heavy application of our mixture, and 4 days later, the plants were pushing out fresh, healthy green leaves. It is literally plant magic in a spray bottle. But powdery mildew is not the only villain in the garden. We also have to face the dreaded gray mold, scientifically known as Botrytis cinerea. This usually happens during those long, incredibly frustrating weeks of endless spring rain. You go out to check your nearly ripe, beautiful red berries, and suddenly they are covered in a disgusting gray fuzz. It breaks your heart. Gray mold loves high humidity and wet fruit. The baking soda acts as a powerful preventative measure here. By lightly coating the developing green berries and the surrounding stems before the heavy rains start, you are locking out the moisture that the mold needs to take hold. It creates a micro barrier on the skin of the fruit. Think of it like putting a tiny raincoat on every single strawberry. Many gardeners think that once a berry gets wet, it is doomed to rot. We are busting that myth right now. By keeping the surface pH high with baking soda, even if it rains for 3 days straight, the botrytis spores cannot penetrate the skin of the berry. Your harvest remains completely safe, firm, and ready to ripen perfectly on the vine, no matter what the weather report says. Here is something that will truly blow your mind. Baking soda does not just protect your plants from diseases. It actually makes the strawberries taste much sweeter. Yes, you heard me right. It improves the flavor profile of the fruit. How is this even possible? It all comes back to how the plant absorbs nutrients from the soil. When a strawberry bush is completely healthy and not wasting its precious energy fighting off fungal infections, it directs all of that saved energy straight into fruit production. It pumps more natural sugars into every single berry. Furthermore, a very light dusting of baking soda on the soil surface can gently adjust the soil chemistry just enough to help the roots absorb potassium more efficiently. Potassium is the primary mineral responsible for sugar development in fruit. So, instead of getting watery, sour berries, you get dense, incredibly sweet fruit that tastes like natural candy. Imagine biting into a strawberry that is so sweet you do not need to add a single grain of sugar to your dessert. That is the kind of harvest we are aiming for, and it is entirely possible with this simple organic method. Let us get down to business and make this magic potion. You need to know the exact recipe, because getting the proportions right is absolutely critical for success. Grab a clean, empty, 1-gallon garden sprayer. Fill it with exactly 1 gallon of clean, lukewarm water. The temperature is important because baking soda dissolves much faster and more completely in warm water than in freezing cold water from the hose. Now take 2 level tablespoons of pure, unscented baking soda. Do not use baking powder. It is not the same thing at all. Pour those 2 tablespoons into the warm water and shake the container vigorously for about 30 seconds. You want to make sure every single granule is completely dissolved. If you leave clumps in the water, they can clog your spray nozzle, or worse, they can land in heavy concentrations on a leaf and burn it. This basic mixture is your foundational liquid. It is cheap, it is completely safe for humans and pets, and you can mix up a fresh batch in less than 2 minutes. It is the perfect weekend gardening project that requires almost zero preparation or money. But wait, we are not completely finished with our recipe yet. We need to add a secret ingredient to make it actually work. If you just spray plain baking soda water onto a waxy strawberry leaf, most of it will simply roll right off and soak into the dirt. We need the solution to stick to the plant like glue. This is where liquid dish soap becomes our best friend. You need to add 1 single teaspoon of mild, environmentally friendly liquid dish soap to your 1-gallon mixture. The soap acts as a surfactant. In simple terms, it breaks the surface tension of the water. Instead of forming round water droplets that roll off, the soapy water spreads out into a thin, perfectly even film across the entire surface of the leaf. This ensures that the baking soda coats the top, the bottom, and all the tiny crevices where fungal spores love to hide. Make sure you use a gentle soap without harsh, heavy degreasers or strong artificial perfumes, as those chemicals can irritate the delicate plant tissue. Just a tiny drop of pure soap changes everything. If you live in an area that gets a lot of heavy rain, or if you use overhead sprinklers to water your garden, you need to take one more extra step with your recipe. You need to add horticultural oil, or just simple cooking oil from your kitchen. Add 1 tablespoon of olive oil, sunflower oil, or vegetable oil to your soapy baking soda mixture. Why do we do this? The oil binds with the baking soda and creates a water-resistant barrier once it dries on the leaf. This means that when the next rainstorm rolls through, your protective coating will not just wash away immediately. The oil holds the medicine exactly where the plant needs it. Imagine waxing your car. The rain just beads up and slides off, protecting the paint underneath. The oil does the exact same thing for your strawberry leaves. It gives the treatment incredible longevity. You will not have to run out and reapply the spray every single time a tiny rain cloud passes over your house. This simple addition saves you an enormous amount of time and effort throughout the long growing season. Timing is absolutely everything when it comes to applying foliar sprays. You cannot just walk out into your garden in the middle of the afternoon and start spraying. That is a massive mistake. The absolute best time to spray your strawberry plants with the baking soda solution is early in the morning, right after the morning dew has dried, but before the sun gets too high and hot. Why is this so important? Because water droplets on leaves act like tiny magnifying glasses. If you spray in the middle of the day, the intense summer sun will hit those wet spots, magnify the heat, and literally scorch holes right through the leaves of your plants. This is called leaf burn, and it is devastating. Alternatively, you can spray late in the evening when the sun is going down. However, morning is always preferred because it gives the plants the entire day to dry off completely before the cool night air sets in. Fungal diseases love cool, wet nights. So, we want our plants going to bed completely dry, but protected by our invisible baking soda shield. Proper timing makes all the difference in the world. How often should you actually be treating your strawberry patch? This is a question I get asked all the time. During the active vegetative phase, when the plant is pushing out lots of new green leaves but hasn't started making flowers yet, you want to get on a regular schedule. I highly recommend spraying your plants once every 14 days. This 2-week rotation is the perfect sweet spot. It provides consistent, overlapping protection for the new foliage as it emerges from the crown of the plant. Think of it like taking a daily vitamin for your garden. You are building up the immune system of the strawberry bush. If you wait until you already see a massive fungal infection, you are going to be fighting an uphill battle. Prevention is always much easier than trying to find a cure. By sticking to a strict 14-day schedule early in the spring, you ensure that the plants are incredibly robust and healthy by the time they need to start producing actual berries. Consistency is the real secret to a massive, reliable harvest. Now, things change a little bit when the plant enters the flowering phase. This is the most critical and delicate time in the entire life cycle of the strawberry. The bushes will be covered in beautiful, tiny white flowers with yellow centers. You need to be extremely careful right now because you do not want to interfere with pollination. Bees and other beneficial insects need to visit those flowers to create the fruit. While our baking soda spray is non-toxic to bees, spraying them directly or soaking the inside of the flower blossom can sometimes wash away the precious pollen. During the heavy flowering stage, I suggest pausing the heavy foliar sprays. Instead, focus entirely on spraying the very lowest leaves that touch the dirt and the soil immediately surrounding the base of the plant. This keeps the ground-level mold in check without disturbing the busy bees working on the top of the plant. Once the flower petals drop off and you see tiny green berries forming, you can resume your regular spraying schedule. Protecting the pollinators is just as important as protecting the plants. Let us take a moment to address a very common myth. Many older gardeners will tell you that using baking soda will absolutely ruin your soil by making it incredibly alkaline over time. They panic about changing the entire pH of the earth. Let us bust that myth with basic facts. Strawberries do prefer slightly acidic soil, usually a pH between 5.5 and 6.5. However, the amount of baking soda we are using in a foliar spray is extremely small. We are talking about 2 tablespoons diluted in an entire gallon of water, spread out over dozens of plants. When a few drops inevitably fall onto the dirt, the natural buffering capacity of healthy, compost-rich soil instantly neutralizes it. It has zero long-term effect on the deep soil chemistry. You would have to dump wheelbarrows full of pure baking soda onto your garden beds to actually cause a toxic alkaline problem. So do not let this myth scare you away from using a brilliant organic solution. As long as you follow the recipe and do not pour the concentrated powder directly onto the roots, your soil will remain perfectly balanced. Let us shift our focus from invisible diseases to very visible, very hungry pests. I am talking about slugs and snails. There is nothing more frustrating than waiting weeks for a strawberry to turn perfectly red, only to find a massive hole chewed right through the middle of it, covered in slimy slime. Slugs love damp strawberry beds. But guess what? Slugs absolutely despise baking soda. It is highly irritating to their soft, slimy bodies. You can use the dry powder to create an impenetrable fortress around your most prized plants. Simply take dry baking soda and sprinkle a very thin, continuous ring on the dirt around the outer edge of the strawberry plant. Do not put it on the plant itself, just on the soil. When a slug tries to slide across this barrier, the baking soda reacts with their slime and causes them to immediately turn around and retreat. It is a highly effective physical barrier. You will have to reapply the powder ring after a heavy rain, but it is an incredibly cheap way to protect your harvest from these nighttime chewers. Slugs are not the only pests that want to ruin your day. Ants can also be a massive headache in the strawberry patch. Ants themselves do not usually eat the berries, but they do something much worse. They actively farm tiny green insects called aphids. The ants carry the aphids up onto the delicate strawberry leaves, where the aphids suck the sugary sap out of the plant. The ants then eat the sweet nectar that the aphids produce. It is a terrible symbiotic relationship that weakens your plants rapidly. Our soapy baking soda spray comes to the rescue once again. When you spray the stems and the underside of the leaves, the soapy mixture washes away the sticky scent trails that the ants leave behind to navigate. Without their scent trails, the ants get completely confused and abandon the plant. Furthermore, the mild soap instantly suffocates the soft-bodied aphids. Within an hour, the aphids are gone. The ants leave in frustration, and your plant can finally breathe and grow normally again. It is a fantastic double-action pest control method. What if you have an old, tired strawberry patch that has been growing in the same spot for 3 or 4 years? The plants look exhausted, the leaves are small, and the fruit production has dropped significantly. You can actually use baking soda to give these older plants a powerful spring rejuvenation. As soon as the snow melts and the ground warms up, clear away all the dead, brown leaves from last winter. Then, drench the crown of the plant and the surrounding soil with a slightly stronger mixture of our baking soda solution. Use 3 tablespoons per gallon for this first spring wake-up call. This heavy dose acts as a total reset button. It instantly kills off any fungal spores that manage to survive the freezing winter temperatures hidden in the old mulch. It cleans the crown of the plant, allowing the new green shoots to emerge into a completely sterile, healthy environment. Gardeners who do this report that their older plants suddenly explode with vigorous new growth, acting as if they were brand new seedlings. Spring weather can be incredibly unpredictable. One day it is beautifully warm and sunny, and the next night, a freak frost rolls in and threatens to kill all of your delicate strawberry blossoms. Frost damage means no berries for the entire year. While baking soda is not a magical blanket, it actually does help the plant handle environmental stress much better. When a plant is perfectly healthy and free from fungal disease, its internal cellular walls are much stronger. A plant treated regularly with our solution has a slightly thicker cuticle on its leaves. This added thickness and robust health gives the plant a tiny bit of extra resilience against sudden temperature drops. I have seen patches of treated strawberries survive a light spring frost completely undamaged, while the untreated patch next door lost all of its flowers. It is not a replacement for covering your plants with a tarp during a hard freeze, but it acts as an excellent internal insurance policy, keeping the plants strong enough to fight through temporary weather shocks. The care does not stop just because you have finished eating all the delicious berries. Post-harvest care is absolutely vital if you want an even bigger crop next year. In the late summer and early fall, your strawberry bushes are sending all of their remaining energy down into their roots to prepare for the long winter dormancy. This is the time when many gardeners simply ignore their plants. Do not make this mistake. After you have picked the last berry, continue to spray your plants with the baking soda mixture once a month until the first hard freeze. Late-season fungal infections can severely weaken the plant right before winter, causing it to die under the snow. By keeping the leaves perfectly clean and healthy all through the autumn months, you are ensuring that the plant stores maximum energy in its root system. A strong root system surviving the winter guarantees a massive explosion of flowers and fruit the following spring. Your late-season effort will pay off tremendously next year. I need to share a very important warning with you. While baking soda is amazing, more is definitely not always better. This is a trap that many enthusiastic beginners fall into. They think, if 2 tablespoons is good, then 6 tablespoons must be absolutely incredible. No, please do not do this. If you make the solution too concentrated, the high levels of sodium will rapidly pull all the moisture out of the plant cells. This will cause severe chemical burns. The edges of the leaves will turn crispy and brown within a single day, and the plant will suffer massive shock. Always strictly follow the rule of 2 level tablespoons per gallon of water. It is a gentle, precise balance. You want to alter the surface pH, not pickle the plant alive. If you ever accidentally mix it too strong and see the leaves starting to curl and brown, immediately grab your garden hose and wash the plants down with massive amounts of clean, fresh water to dilute the sodium. Precision and patience are the marks of a truly master gardener. Let us talk about the water you are using to mix your spray. Water quality matters a lot more than you might think. If you live in a city and have incredibly hard tap water, which means it is full of heavy calcium and minerals, it can actually interact poorly with the baking soda. Hard water is already naturally alkaline. If you add alkaline baking soda to highly alkaline water, the pH might spike too high, reducing the effectiveness of the spray and potentially stressing the plant. If you know you have very hard tap water, the absolute best solution is to collect natural rainwater in a barrel. Rainwater is perfectly soft and slightly acidic. It is the absolute perfect base for mixing our spray. It allows the baking soda to dissolve flawlessly and react exactly as we want it to on the leaf surface. If you cannot get rainwater, let your tap water sit in an open bucket in the sun for 24 hours before mixing. This allows harsh chlorine gas to evaporate, making the water much softer and safer for your delicate plants. Most of us do not grow strawberries in complete isolation. We use companion planting. You might have garlic planted near your strawberries to deter pests, or beautiful marigolds to attract beneficial insects. You need to know how the baking soda spray affects these neighboring plants. The great news is that this solution is universally safe for almost all garden vegetables and flowers. In fact, if you accidentally overspray onto your garlic or tomato plants, you are actually doing them a huge favor. Tomatoes are highly susceptible to early blight and powdery mildew, and the baking soda spray works just as magically on them as it does on the strawberries. Marigolds also benefit from the fungal protection, so you do not need to be overly careful or build plastic walls between your different crops. You can confidently walk through your garden with your sprayer and give all of your disease-prone plants a light protective misting. It is a fantastic, multi-purpose organic tool for the entire backyard ecosystem. Let me paint a picture of a real-world success story to show you just how powerful this is. I had a friend who inherited a community garden plot that was entirely overgrown with weeds and old diseased strawberry bushes. The leaves were covered in black spots, the stems were rotting, and the few berries that formed were instantly covered in gray fuzz. He was ready to till the entire thing under and plant potatoes. I convinced him to try the baking soda protocol first. We cleaned out the dead leaves and applied the soapy spray exactly as I described, strictly every 14 days. Within 3 weeks, the transformation was unbelievable. The new leaves pushing up from the center were vibrant, shiny, and perfectly green. By early summer, those supposed dead plants produced a harvest so massive we were picking bowls of giant, perfectly sweet red berries every single morning. The mold was completely gone. That garden plot became the envy of the entire neighborhood, all saved by a box of baking soda that cost less than $2. You can achieve these exact same results in your own backyard. We have covered a massive amount of incredibly valuable ground today. From understanding the microscopic chemistry of a leaf surface to entirely saving your summer harvest from the dreaded gray mold, baking soda truly is the ultimate organic gardener's secret weapon. Whoever knew that something sitting quietly in your kitchen baking cabinet could completely and totally transform your entire strawberry patch? Now you are armed with the exact recipes, the perfect timing schedules, and the deep scientific knowledge you need to grow significantly more berries than you can possibly eat yourself. Get ready to start giving baskets of fruit away to your friends and neighbors. Thank you so much for watching and learning with me today. If you found this video helpful and learned something new, please hit that like button right now. It really helps the channel grow and reach more gardeners. Do not forget to subscribe so you absolutely never miss another one of our organic gardening secrets. And right before you go, I want to know your thoughts. Will you be trying this amazing baking soda trick on your own strawberries this weekend? Let me know down in the comments below, and let us start a great discussion.